Hi, Katerina. Hi, the entrepreneur. Kardisha, Mega, Stella's cleaning. Hello. Equestrian marketing coach. Julian Carpenter. Hello. Hello. Shushikale. Cool. Let's start. So today I don't have a specific topic. I'll answer any questions. I'm gonna try to do I'm gonna try to answer faster so I can get to everyone today. I feel bad not getting to everyone every week. Hi, Sammy. Welcome. Hi, the Drawing Bard. Creative Finish. Farhan. Miss Creative. Sandy. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so if you're just joining in, if you have any questions, great question. How are you today? I'm doing great. I'm ready to answer some questions. What's your design process like? My design process, I guess, is I before I design anything, I have to have the copy. So every time I design a website, I won't even start design unless I have at least like what sections is going to go on the page and what are the headlines. So I don't have to have all of the copy, like I don't have to have the details of every copy written, but at least I need to be able to see the headline, because the way most people browse website is like they Google, they click, and they just quickly scroll, and then they scroll back up, and then before they decide, and then they hit back button, and then they click another website, they scroll, they go back up, and until they, hey Chester, hey Reggie, until they have they've decided to actually stop and read the content, they're not going to read anything. So I need to read the headlines first. I need all the headlines before I start designing. Hey Rob. In terms of kind of like the visual design, I guess what I do is I talk to the client, and it's hard to, like, a lot of people try to use adjectives to Julian, can you put your question in the sticker, and then so people can vote it up and I can answer it? Otherwise, it's going to get lost. So, hey Sabrine, hey Fatima. So what happens is a lot of designers like to use adjectives to explain design. Like, for example, bold, like, trustworthy, or, like bright, or like fun, cheerful, or, whatever it is. Like they like to use words to describe design. But here's the problem with that. Your idea of bold and my idea of bold is different. Your idea of traditional is different than my idea of traditional. Your idea of modern is different than my idea of. Everyone has their own idea of these adjective words, right? And that's why it doesn't work. What you need to do is, like, so what I need to do is, if a client keeps saying, oh, son, I don't know, I need it to be more bold. I need it to be more bold, or I need it to be more modern. Like, when clients use adjectives like that, I would usually go back to them and say, hey, can you give me an example of bold? Can you show me what bold looks like to you? And then I'll have them go into the websites that they like and show me what bold is, right? So that's one thing. So by looking at an example of what they call bold, I can kind of, now we're on the same page, and I can try to guess what they mean by bold. I can try to guess what they mean by fresh, because like anyone can say fresh, right? But that's such a meaningless word. Or like, what does that even mean, right? Another thing is, some clients will say, like, some clients will give you some websites that they like, because whenever I say, hey, which websites do you like, they'll give me a website. And when I look at it, it's like it's like they'll give me like 5 different websites, and I'll look at it, and all 5 websites looks completely different from each other. They don't look anything alike. I'm like, what? And then usually what it is, like, when I go through one by one, when you ask clients to give you a design that they like or website that they like, they're not going to tell you like the overall feel of it. They're gonna send you something because they're gonna be like, oh, I like this part of this site. Oh, I like how they use this animation here. Oh, I like how they have the form here. So there's specific things about that site that they like. It's not that they like the overall look and feel. It's like there's a specific functionality in there that they like. So you have to be very careful. Like when you ask people like to send you websites they like, you have to say, send me what websites like and tell me exactly what you like about it. So that you can figure out, okay, this person just wants this functionality. It's not that they like this kind of look and feel or something like that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Salim, I just verified as marketing trainer. What is your advices? I just verified as marketing trainer. What is your advices? Do you mean like what's my advice on how to become a marketing trainer? I'm not a marketing trainer, so I don't know. But I guess like just in general, when it comes to training, one of the things that I'm realizing is okay. So one of the things I'm realizing is in training, less is more. So I think a lot of people when we go into training, we're like, I'm gonna train this topic, or I'm gonna teach this topic. We get carried away, and we're like, oh, more the better. The more information I give, I'm gonna jam pack this with like 100 slides, and like that's what the people use that word, right? Jam pack with value, right? And people think that more is better, but what ends up happening is the more you say, there might be a small tiny percentage of people that wants more information, like that wants every little detail and all the more information. But usually what happens is the more information you give, the more they're gonna ignore, they're gonna tune you out, and more is gonna go in one ear and out the other. So usually I found that in training, in teaching, or even communication in general, the key is not to give more info. The key to communication is not more information. It's actually less information, and it's cutting out the wrong unnecessary information and focusing on the right information. So like making it clear and concise is the key to communication, not just more information. And I see so many people make this mistake where when they're sending email to sales letter or email to clients, they write this long letter like, oh, I need to make sure that I include every little detail, and I need to include every little thing. I need to all the bullet points, like every little detail. Okay, like yeah, try that. Like people are not even going to read it. Do you know what I mean? And so you're already losing them before they get into it. So when I look at most people, the best thing they can do, like in general, most likely you're writing too much, you're saying too much, you're talking too much. Like I definitely make the mistakes. I definitely talk way too much. But the key is to make it, whatever you're saying it using the least number of words possible. If you can really do that well, that's the key to powerful communication. I don't know if that even helped you, but Max Quaid, how to create a case study of office work, which is confidential. That's a good question. So obviously, like one way you can do it is to not show the company name, right? Maybe you just said you can start out saying that, oh, this shoe company was able to raise their conversion by this much, and then just kind of like go through it without having to disclose any information about the client. So if it's confidential, then yeah, you're gonna have to find a way, like just say this company in this industry was able to do this or something like that. That's not nearly as powerful though. Like it's not as powerful as kind of like like testimonials without you see those testimonials like where it just says John D, and then it just has like some quote, some testimonial, and they're all like that. People are not stupid, right? When people see that, their initially their brain is gonna be like, oh, that's fake. that's fake testimonial, right? But then when you see like somebody's fake picture and their full name and then the testimonial, like immediately they're gonna be like, oh, that's a real testimonial, right? So it's actually really important to get. I guess if you're like a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, obviously you can't do that. But what I found is if you're yeah, there's a question mark button down here if you need to ask question. What I found is that people are like, oh, but my client's not gonna like it when we show their case study there or testimonial, like, or whatever it is. But the thing is, that means you didn't do a good job, because like if you provided a great service, your clients should love you, and your clients should want to go out of their way to help you and out of their way to promote you. So if your client is saying that, no, I don't want you to use my testimonial, no, I don't want you to use my case study, like, most likely that means they weren't happy with you, right? So I would really ask, like, go and ask, like, okay, what is the, even before you just like assume that they're not going to let you, just at least ask. It's worth a shot. Okay, next question. Okay, I think we did that one. Next. Okay, Kurdisha St. Louis. Do you find stories as better way to engage than main feed? Yeah, stories are going to be way more engaging, right? I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by engagement. Because if you what you want is, if you want more comments, more likes, and those type of engagement, obviously you need you need you need to do it on the feed. Like, I get about, in general, I would say I get about 20 times more view on my feed. Like, so for example, if I have 1,000 views in average on Instagram stories, then I'll have like 20,000 views on average on my feed. So if I have like around 2,000 views on my stories, then I'll have about 40,000 views on my feed. So I mean, it's two totally different game. Like, my feed is this is the way I think about it. Like, people that are watching my stories are probably like, if you were to look at it as a funnel, right? Like, here's how they found me. Like, people who find me and they just look at the content without, like, following me, that's probably like step one, right? And then the second step is people who are following me and not really engaging with my content, right? Or they don't even see my content. And then third would be people who are following me and they see my content, usually like because they engage with it, they like it or comment. And then so next time it shows up again on their feed. So they're like next in the line, right? And then finally are the ones that are looking at my stories. So the ones that are looking at my stories are the most, closest towards the end of the funnel, right? Towards the bottom of the funnel. So they're most likely to buy products, right? So what I would say is, like, you probably wanna like try to sell mostly on stories, and also like, and then after stories is kind of in your DM, right? Because when you post stories, if you post stories and you're teaching something on the stories or you're explaining something on the stories, people are gonna comment, like people are gonna DM and ask questions right in the stories. And also, like, so many people ignore DM, myself included. You should really be spending on, if you're doing engagement on Instagram, you should be spending most of your time on DM. DM is like the biggest indicator for engagement and for the algorithm, right? Meaning, the people that you're talking to on DM are probably going to be the first ones to see your content. Do you know what I mean? So if you want like 100 people to see your content, DM with 100 people. If you want 1,000 people to see your content, DM with 1,000 people, because the ones you're DMing with, your content will come up on the top of their feed. Your stories will come in the beginning of their stories and all of that. Okay. Do you think sales position would be good practice for any type? Can you put that question in the sticker tab so I can see? Okay. the literacy reform asked, I have recently created an educational podcast. What do you enjoy most about educational posts you listen to? Also, how do I ensure the information is actionable and entertaining? Educational podcast. What do you? I guess that's like a broad topic. What do you? I'm not sure what you mean by educational podcast. Like regarding like the education system and how education works and things like that. Um, I don't really listen to a lot of those type type of content, but here's what I think. If you're doing a podcast, I don't think the beauty of podcast is not it's not like a YouTube video or it's not like an Instagram post, right? Like people come to reading disabilities. Okay, got it. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to talk about reading disabilities, if you want to talk about, let's say, you know, whatever topic that you want to teach on, right? Um, like dyslexia or whatever it is, right? If you want to teach something and if you want to give, if you actually want to teach and you want to give a lesson or give them a actionable tip or whatever it is, the best place to do it is not on a podcast, but on through a YouTube video. Just make a YouTube video, make a tutorial YouTube video or instructional YouTube video or instructional Instagram video or something like that and teach there, right? That's the best way to do it. If you're gonna like podcast is so much harder to grow than than YouTube. Like, okay, I would say here's the ranking, right? The easiest to grow, like if you just want to grow and get more followers, the easiest is gonna be TikTok. The second easiest is gonna be YouTube Shorts. I guess no, like you can kind of include Twitter and LinkedIn in there too. I think those are pretty easy too. But the easiest is going to be TikTok. The next is going to be YouTube Shorts, and then it's maybe, and then after that maybe LinkedIn and Twitter, and then after that is going to be YouTube, right? Like the YouTube videos that are harder to grow. It's it's extremely harder to grow. Sorry, before so it'll be TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and then YouTube, and then podcast, right? So podcast is going to be the hardest to grow. Do you understand what I mean? And Instagram is pretty hard to grow too. So if you want to teach, what I would do is if it's like long form content where you want to teach, do it on YouTube, right? If you want to do podcast, the beauty of podcast is that you can have this long conversation. You have to think about each one of these platforms and figure out what is the trait of that platform. The reason why people listen to podcasts is because they like going into the depth and hearing these long, in-depth conversations about something, right? Not because nobody's going to podcast and be like, okay, I'm going to take some notes and I'm going to learn how to do this. Like that, nobody's going to podcast thinking that they're going to like, it's like a class, right? Maybe that's more like YouTube video or online courses or something like that. But if you're going to do a podcast, have it be a long, in-depth conversation. So have guests, invite people, and have an actual, very casual, like off-the-cuff conversation. And that's what people want. And that's the reason why people listen to podcasts. If they want to like a perfectly edited tutorial of how to do something, they'll watch a YouTube video, right? And if they want it even more edited, then they'll go watch TV or something like that. So you need to understand all these platforms and what are the characteristics of each platform. Like people that are on TikTok, why are they on TikTok? People that are listening to podcasts, why do they listen to podcasts? People that are watching YouTube videos, why do they watch YouTube videos? Like you need to get into their mind and figure out the audience for each platform and adjust your content based on that. It's not like you just take something here and just you post it in different platforms. It'll work. Instagram is actually not as hard to grow. I think YouTube is way harder to grow. The reason why Instagram is hard to grow out of like compared to YouTube Shorts or TikTok or even Twitter is because Instagram is so crowded. Here's one thing that I don't understand. Okay, the drawing bar. Before I get to your question, I really want to talk about this because this is. I see so many people making these mistakes. So everyone who's starting to get, is starting in content that I want to grow social media, are coming to me, and they all want me to show them how to grow Instagram. They all are wasting their time making content for Instagram. Stop wasting your time making content for Instagram, because Instagram is one of the worst platforms to grow. The reason why Instagram is one of the worst platforms to grow is because, number one, it's so fucking competitive. Like, so many people create content on Instagram. You're competing against, like, it's probably more competitive than any of the platforms out there, right? So that's number one. Number two, like, Instagram is dying. Like, the user base is dying and the engagement is dying, and not as many people use Instagram, so that it's already not the best platform to invest in. And then number three, I guess that's it. So because it's so hard to grow on Instagram, I wouldn't, if I were a new creator and I want to grow my presence, Instagram would be like the place where I spend the least amount of time. Where I would actually spend majority of my time is like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and maybe even like LinkedIn and Twitter, right? Instagram will be kind of bottom of the list. So yeah, I feel like so many, like, however many hours you guys are investing in Instagram, if you invest that same amount of time on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, you would have 10 times the success. But because everybody is like, I don't know why, everybody's so fucking obsessed with Instagram. Like, oh, Instagram, I need to have followers on Instagram. Like, fuck Instagram. Like, like it's Instagram is not your best ROI. Is not Instagram. So just I feel like it's more of an emotional thing, because everybody thinks that, oh yeah, I need those followers on Instagram. I need to be Instagram famous or something. Like, it's bullshit. Okay. Let's go to the next question. The drawing board. You made a post about writing captions. Do you write a big piece of copy first with general idea that, yes, cut it down to different media? Yeah, I do. So what, not cut it down for different media, but what I do is my first version of whatever I write, my first version is fucking total garbage. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's long, it's fucking repetitive, and it's kind of like, it seems like it's like me trying to impress so much, and like there's all this, like, you can literally feel my ego inside those writings. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do that, like, because I see it, right? And I see these captions that people write. I see these fucking stories that people write. And I'm like, oh, like, I can fucking smell their ego mile away inside that writing, right? It's just fucking long and convoluted. They're trying to use fancy words, and like, I can almost feel like, okay, this is probably the second draft that they've done, right? But that's not how writing works. Majority of your time when you write should be spent on rewriting. So for me, it literally takes me 5 minutes, 10 minutes to write. Okay? And then it takes me 2 hours to edit that shit. It takes me 2 hours to edit it concisely to a point where it's clear, it's concise, it says everything that I want to say. It removes all the unnecessary shit that, that's just coming out of my ego. That's not going to actually help the audience. I don't repeat anything. There's not a word that's being wasted, like unnecessary word there. So you have to take all of that shit out, and you need to rewrite it. Literally, I rewrite my captions probably like 20 times. My Instagram carousels, even worse. Like, the first time I write out my carousels, like, literally, this is what I do, right? So there's 10 slides, right? So what I do is I just open a Google Doc and I just write 10 bullet points. Okay, first, second, right? And that's my first one. And that one is literally like 2 sentences on, like 2-3 sentences on each whatchamacallit slide. Hey, Tabitha. And then what I have to do is I have to look at it, I have to access it, and I have to kind of first shorten it all down. And then next, what I need to do is, like, I need to rearrange it, right? I need to be like, oh, actually, no, this should come up. I should say this first, because without this context, they're not going to understand. So I kind of rearrange it, right? And then I try to see where are some patterns like that's going on, right? So, for example, if I say something like, in the carousel from today, if I say something like, people don't care about this, or people aren't motivated by this, people are less motivated by this than this, right? So that's something like, in the beginning, I didn't write it that way. But the thing is, after I keep rewriting, I wanted to make sure that people understand the pattern between those three things. Like, they're less motivated by this than this. They're less motivated by this than this. They're less motivated by this than this. So by repeating it over and over, what I'm doing is I'm training people to see the pattern, that what I'm doing is I'm comparing this to this, this to this, this to this, right? So I have to go through and just think of every little aspect of it. And here, there's even something as simple as this, right? Like, here, all those, like, when you guys get my emails and I do those writing techniques, people are always asking me, son, how do you write those carousels? How do you write it in so concise and blah, 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 all of that shit, right? This is how I do it. Every time I write, I feel like most people just write like, oh, okay, that's good enough. And like, when I write, I literally go word for word for word, every single word in detail. And I try to figure out, okay, what's a better way to say this? Oh, what's a better way to say this? What if I put this in first person perspective? Oh, what if I put it in second person perspective? What if I turn this into a question? And I literally try every single variations like that until I find something that works. And when you're doing that all the time, when you try different variation of saying the same thing with using different words so many times, what ends up happening is you start to pick up on little details and you start to learn little tricks. For example, like, writing is not like there's no fucking framework. Like, there's one framework and say, hey, here's a tip, just do this, right? That's what people want like, that's how people want it to be. So what a lot of marketers or copywriters do is like, oh, instead of saying I, just replace it with you, right? Like, people say your favorite, like, the best word to use like, I'm sure you guys heard this before. In copywriting, the most important word to use is the word you, right? So instead of saying, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do this, say, hey, you are going to do this, or you are going to get this, and you are going to, which is true, right? If you're selling a product and you're writing a sales page, you want to include you. Like, hey, are you struggling with this? Are you doing this? But that fucking copywriting trick doesn't apply to Instagram. It doesn't apply to social media. What I found is that when you use the word you, too much on social media, what ends up happening is, it ends up sounding preachy. It sounds like you're fucking condescending. We're like, hey, stop doing this, you should do this, you should do that. So that you word doesn't really work when it comes to giving advices, because it makes you fucking sound like you're preaching to them. It makes you sound like you're condescending them. It makes you sound like you're fucking, you're like above them or something like that. So actually, you don't want to use the word you when it comes to social media. What you want to do is like what I'm doing right now, right? The way I'm sounding right now, it sounds condescending because I'm like, you should do this. No, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you should stop posting this. You should, like, that sounds like fucking you're preaching at me, right? So the better way to do it is actually to say, hey, I was doing this and I made this mistake. I'm doing this. I have a huge ego. So actually, if you want to give advice, it's actually better to do it from I. So, but it's like it all depends, right? There's a lot of nuance to this. But that's the thing. When you're writing and you're rewriting and you're thinking about every word that you're saying, you're actually going to realize all the mistakes you're making. You're going to, I'll move on, but that's actually kind of one of the things I noticed. The other day, someone was telling me that he posted 90 posts, 90 days, right? He did a 90-day challenge at 90 posts. I find it mind-boggling when I hear people say they posted 90 posts, but they didn't grow their Instagram, or they did their 90 posts and they didn't grow whatever account, TikTok or blah blah blah. That means you're just fucking posting 90 posts, but you've literally turned off your brain and you're just like, okay, post, post, post. That's kind of like, like, imagine if I were to tell you to like look at a piece of content and write it down like on a piece of paper, right? Like I always say this: if you want to learn copywriting, copy something, right? So literally, if you're copying and you've turned off your brain and you're just literally just typing, you're not even thinking about what you're typing. You're not even thinking about what you're reading, and you're just fucking reading the words and typing the words, and your brain is turned off. If you do that, you're not gonna learn shit. The whole point of doing the 90-day challenge, the whole point of posting 90 posts, is so that with every post you can learn something and you can get better. So if you're posting something and it didn't work, and then next day you post the same old shit again without thinking, and the next day you post it again, you do that for 90 days, nothing is going to happen. With every post you post, you need to look at it, and you need to read the comments, you need to see the likes, you need to see where people are dropping off, you need to look at the analytics and be like, oh, why didn't people like that? Oh, maybe it's because the hook was too long. Oh, maybe in the beginning I should have wrote this. Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna try this, and then try that again, and try that. With every fucking post you do, you have to find one thing and make it better. And then maybe at the end of the week, look at all your content and be like, okay, that's so weird. Why did that one video get so many views? Oh, why did this happen? And you just look at it and try to figure, oh, when I said this, everybody replied with this. They didn't understand. Why didn't they understand it? Maybe I made it too complex. And then you learn from that. And next week you make those switches. You got to analyze, and you got to come up with a new game plan. You got to set hypotheses on what worked and what didn't work. Based on that, based on your hypothesis, come up with a new game plan, and now try that hypothesis and see if that works. And it didn't work. Next week, you go back and you make a new hypothesis, and you have to keep actively improving your content every week. And then after 90 days, you'll get better. You'll grow your account. But if you're not doing that, you can post for a fucking 1,000 days. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna grow. You're just posting 1,000 pieces of garbage. So I just want to reiterate this: the 90-day challenge, the 30-day challenge, these challenges, the goal is not that because you post 90, you're gonna get followers. You're gonna attract followers. That's not the goal. The reason why you should do the 90-day challenge is because with making 90 pieces of content, you want to improve. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Otherwise, you're just fucking wasting time making 90 posts. Okay. Can you put your questions in the question so I don't lose track of it? Okay. Pointer Forge 18. How to learn optical alignment. I know how to apply it, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what optical alignment is. So maybe somebody could explain that in the chat. I'm not sure what optical alignment is. Oh, sorry. I wish I did. Okay, next question. Racing chain bows. Okay. What's the biggest lesson you've learned doing brand strategy? The biggest lesson I learned doing brand strategy. I mean, I'm gonna sound like so cliche, but I guess, okay, here's the lesson here's what I think that everybody needs to understand is people think that you can figure out, and I'm not even talking about just colors and logos and shit like that. All I'm talking about is your actual brand messaging, your brand positioning, your brand story, and all of that. A lot of people think that they can sit in a conference room, people think that they can sit in a fucking whiteboard with their whiteboard and with their little sticky notes, and they can come up with a brand story like that, right? So like day one, they're not even a year into their business yet, and they're like starting to think about, oh, I think what people need is this. I think what's missing in the marketplace is this kind of messaging, and I think this is what makes us different. And they try to do all of that, right? The truth is, 99.9% of the time, what you think of the market is 100% wrong. Like, nobody fucking knows what people need. Nobody knows what they think of your brand. Nobody knows that gap in the marketplace. Nobody knows, right? If you look at most companies, it's like that, right? Everybody thought, like when PayPal first started with Elon Musk, right? PayPal was supposed to be, the reason why it's called X.com was because he wanted to make the everything app, right? So PayPal wasn't just about sending emails through payment through emails. It was actually about all, like, there were special transactions, and you can use it to do different things. And it was way more complex than that. But the thing is, the market told them, oh, the only thing I'm interested in is how to email people money, right? So then that's what PayPal became, right? But if Elon Musk was like, oh, this is what's missing in the marketplace, and this is what people need, and he just forced his way, then PayPal would have never became PayPal. Okay. So what I think a lot of people don't understand is, when it comes to branding, so few people actually listens to their customers. So few people actually listens to their audience. So everybody thinks that they know the answer. Every entrepreneur thinks that they fucking got to figure it out. Oh, I know the answer. I know. They don't know. This is what they need. They don't even know. This is what they need. Like, and myself included, I'm like, I make that same fucking mistake every fucking day, and I have to catch myself. And people are like, okay, son, I don't know shit, right? If one out of every two customers that I talk to is telling me this thing, maybe they're right. Okay? Like, here's the thing. Like, do you ever have those things, like, where every time you talk to a client, every time you talk to somebody, the client is like, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Or like, they're telling you something that you don't want to hear, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, I hate these clients. Like, these customers are so fucking stupid. Like, oh my gosh, like that. They don't know better. That's why they don't know better. No, it's not that they don't know better. You don't know. It's you are the one who doesn't know. Because if every client is telling you something, every customer is telling you something, like, they're fucking right. Like, do you understand what I mean? It's not rocket science. So, and that's actually the number one reason why I feel like, when I look at brands who hasn't even like get to a certain point and fails over and over and over, is because the entrepreneur's ego, their ego gets in the way, and their ego is like, no, I don't care how many people say this, I'm right. And I'm trust me, I'm guilty of that more than anyone else, right? Like, I have no, like, Night Owl Nation would be moving on so much faster if I had just fucking dropped my ego and say, oh, everybody wants this, okay, let's just do it. Oh, everybody, instead of saying like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. No, I'm not gonna raise my prices because they don't know. Like, I need to do this. Like, I'm doing. You're doing so many fucking stupid shit because your ego thinks that you're right, rather than actually listening to people, right? But here's the thing: there's no smoke where there's no fire. So if somebody is telling you something over and over, like, people are telling you something over and over that you don't want to hear, most likely because it's true. Yeah, but I like, I know I say that shit, but I'm so bad at that shit. So don't feel too bad, because I'm so fucking stubborn. My ego is so high. So like, I do that all the time, and then like, literally, I need to get stomped, and I need to get, like, humbled before I learn my lesson. So it's probably not as bad as me. Okay, Milano Manuel Mom, can you give me some tips to regain likes and grows? First of all, I think the best tip I can give is to stop wasting time on Instagram if you're trying to get likes and grow. Because I'm telling you, Like Instagram is a dying platform. Like we're on the tail. Like it's it's kind of like, like you're trying. It's like it's kind of like, it's like I guess it's like the 2000s, and you're trying to like hang on to like Yellow Pages. Oh, it's imagine like it was like year 2000, and you're coming to ask me like, son, can you teach me how I can grow my business on Yellow Pages? Can you give me some tactics on how to do direct mails, and how to market on Yellow Pages and do billboards? Like my answer to you is gonna be like, actually, don't. Like, don't, because it's a dying Instagram is a dying platform. So don't even bother. If you want to actually grow, and if you want to grow your social media, invest your time on TikTok, invest your time on YouTube Shorts, invest your time on LinkedIn, maybe Twitter. These are the platforms where there's actually still room to grow, right? So that will be my number one. Like most of you guys, the reason why you want to grow Instagram so bad is because you think that like, oh, people don't care unless you have Instagram followers. It's like, it's all fucking vanity shit. That's the reason why you want to grow Instagram. It's not because you actually want customers. Because if you actually care about customers, if you actually care about making money, if you actually want to grow your business, you will be on YouTube Shorts and you will be on TikTok. So that's number one. Like Instagram should be kind of like your backup, like alternate platform. It should be something like the tertiary stuff, right? Okay, I'm gonna make content for TikTok, and when I have time, I'm gonna repost that on Instagram. That's how it should be. Not like I need to invest on Instagram, and if I have time, I'll do TikTok. It's the other way around. Now, if you want to regain likes and grow, what you need to do, which is what I'm not doing, right? And this is also another reason why Instagram is fucking bullshit, because Instagram is like, for example, me, if I post videos on TikTok or YouTube, what happens is I'll get like 100 views, and then all of a sudden one video will get 5,000 views, and then the next one will get 100 views again, and then one video might get 2,000 views, right? And same thing on TikTok. I get like 300 views, and all of a sudden I get 10,000 views, right? And then again, back to like 300, 400 views, and then all of a sudden like 50,000 views, right? What that tells me is YouTube Shorts and TikTok algorithm actually cares if it's a good content or not. And if it's a good content, they'll show it to people. And if it's bad content, they won't show it to people. Instagram's algorithm doesn't work like that yet. Instagram algorithm still relies on, it's still a fucking popularity contest. So the more followers you have, the more views you'll have. The less followers you have, the less views you have. My Instagram video doesn't fluctuate that much, not as much as TikTok and YouTube. Okay, so because Instagram is a popularity contest, the only way the algorithm is going to work on your favor is if you go out and you DM people, you engage in other people. You're going to have to put a lot of manual labor, just constantly engaging, commenting, engaging, commenting, DMing. Like you're going to have to do that every day, all day, every day. And then your engagement will go up, right? And that's kind of like what I'm not doing right now. Like whenever I am engaging and I am doing all of this, if I set aside like 2 hours a day, I'm just like DMing, blah, blah, blah. Like it actually starts, my engagement starts to go up, my reach goes to go up and things like that. But if I don't do that, it doesn't. And I think like it's because Instagram algorithm just sucks. Like Instagram algorithm just still wants, it's still the old way. Okay. XOI GIF. Talk about brand audits, please. The process and pricing. I don't know, because I don't do brand audits, and I don't do the way our agency works is not like how the traditional agency is like, oh, here we're gonna do a brand audit, blah blah blah, and all of that shit. Like I'm totally against all that shit, because from my experience, all of that shit is just some bullshit that fucking advertising agencies made up so that they can justify charging a shitload of money to their clients. And they, here's the thing, right? Every time somebody uses some fucking lingo, some industry lingo, some jargon like brand audit, or like people start using words like strategy and fucking synergy and all these fucking corporate meaningless fucking jargon words. That's a red flag. That's a red flag to be like run away. You know why? But you know why people use like whenever I talk to developers, the fucking newbies all want to use the fucking fancy some tech jargon that nobody understands, right? Whenever I talk to like lawyers, consultants, or designers, the ones that all want to use the fucking these industry terms jargon are always the newbies. You know why? Because they're fucking afraid of being fucking exposed. They're afraid of being found out that they don't know shit. So they try to use this fucking jargon to make themselves look important. And these agencies also do the same thing. They use this fucking jargons that nobody understands to make themselves like, oh, nobody can do this except me. Oh, I'm the expert. I know these words. I'm the expert. And you guys like they're purposely doing it to make everybody else look stupid. When in reality, nobody in the fucking understands what the fuck you're talking about. So fuck, if you really know what you're doing, it's like Einstein said, right? If you can't explain to a 6-year-old, you don't even know it yourself. So that's why I don't fucking do it. That's why I don't fucking, when clients come, it's like, oh, we're gonna do we're gonna do a brand audit. Here's your client avatar, and here's the color theory, and here's like I don't do any of that shit. Because all of those were just fucking terms, made up shit that was fucking invented by art directors, creative directors, and people in the advertising world so that they can fucking build their clients and make it seem like nobody can do this work except themselves. The truth is, no. That's a 20 fucking 1-year-old kid in their fucking garage can do it. Because they're doing it. There's fucking literally 17-year-olds in fucking TikTok that are getting 10 million views when you don't know how to fucking do that. So tell me, creative director, tell me, fucking art director, if you're so fucking good, why can't you fucking go get 10 million views on TikTok? If you're so fucking good, right? It's because you're not good. You just know some fucking lingo that nobody fucking understands. If you were actually good, you'd be like that 17-year-old who knows how to make TikTok videos and fucking get 10 million views. So at the end of the day, that whole fucking old school advertising agent days are dying. Because like as a creative director, whatever it is, you can talk the talk, you can talk all that bullshit, but numbers don't lie, right? Like the sales numbers don't lie, the views don't lie, like none of those lie. So sorry to go off on you like that, but that's why I don't like those jargon. That's why I try to keep everything I say. The reason why I say that, you guys probably noticed, I'll say something and I'll fucking say the same shit 5 more times in 5 different ways. And the reason why I keep doing that is because maybe you didn't understand this the first way I said it, but maybe the second way I said it, this other person will understand it. And then this third way I say it, somebody else will understand. So the reason why I repeat the same shit over and over and over like that is because I want to make sure that everyone understood it. But if I sat here and going like, oh, the problem with brand audit is that we need to use color theory to do this, to get the most effective solution out of this synergy strategy and all of this fucking bullshit lingo, then I'm actually purposely trying to make it so that you don't understand me. But I'm trying to do the opposite. I want you to understand it. I want to make sure you understand me. That's why I dumb it all down and I sound like a fucking child and I say it 5 different times. Okay, Edwin, when do you know when to start a community like Night Owl Nation? Is there a certain amount of followers you have, or what are the metrics to go by? So you know how I always say, just take the next best step, right? Don't plan. So I do get this question a lot, but people says, when can I monetize? When can I monetize my account? When can I start selling a product? When can I? Well, let me give you here's an easy answer. When people ask you. See, I didn't just fucking start, like, I only do things. Well, that's not true. Like, my ego fucking wants to create all of this shit that nobody's asking for. Nobody's asking for that? Well, it's because they don't know. They don't know they need it. So I'm just gonna fucking invent it. And that's my ego speaking, right? Like this point system that we're doing at Night Owl Nation, maybe nobody's asking for the fucking point system. So why am I doing it? Because my ego is like, oh, they need it. They don't even know that they need it. So I'm gonna fucking just push it down their throat, right? So that's what's happening. But so the easy quick question is this: don't fucking create products, don't create services, don't create shit that nobody's asking you for. The right time to create a product, the right time to create a community, the right time to create a course or whatever it is when people come and ask you a question. Like for me, people kept coming and asking me, son, how do I do this? Oh, can you teach me how to be a smart? And I kept answering the same shit over and over, and I kept teaching the same thing over. I kept going on Zoom calls doing over and over. And I'm like, let me just fucking make a community where I just show up on Sunday and just teach this shit every week. So it was a solution to a problem. It wasn't like, don't create solution to problems that doesn't exist. Because so many people are trying to create solutions that nobody asked them to solve. So wait for the problem to happen. Wait for people to ask you for the solutions, and then make the solution. That's the right time to start. I hope that was helpful. Okay, marketing. I'm gonna try to go faster. Marketing, FLA. I get more engagement on my posts only when I engage with my niche people. How to create a community. You don't create a community. You don't go. See, the thing is, like, people, you don't go out and you're like, okay, in order for me to create a community, I'm gonna go and find this people. I'm gonna put them into a spreadsheet. I'm gonna create a community. Like that's not a community. That's called like fucking. That's called like tyranny. That's called authoritarian. That's called you trying to control shit, right? Communities you don't create community. Communities just gets created by itself. So if you're just out there, you're answering people's question and you're talking to people and you're making friends, before you know it, community will get built around you. You can't force community. I can't be like, okay, building a community is not like building a company, right? The only thing you can do is you can go have these conversations with people and you can answer people and you can just get involved with the people, and then community will start forming around you. I saw a movie the other day about the Beanie Babies, right? It's not like fucking, the Thai corporation went and like they're like, oh, we're gonna create this Beanie Baby community where people trade Beanie Babies. That's not what happened. It's just that the people by themselves love certain things and they started talking about it, and that's like building a community is out of your control. If you try to control it, it's gonna seem fake and it's not gonna work. Okay, Olga Mine says, should I post TikTok vids with watermark on IG, or is that a no? Yeah, no, don't do that. So the most ideal way to do it is just to record the video separately, like on your phone or something like that, and then upload that separately into one to TikTok and one to Instagram, one to YouTube Shorts or something like that. But if you don't want to do that, there's a website called Snap Insta. So if you go to Snap Insta, you can download your Instagram video without the watermark and you can upload it. And then if you go to, there's one called SnapTik, which is you can download Snapchat. SnapTip is you can download TikTok videos without watermark, and then you can upload it on Instagram. There's also other tool, like there's like this thing called EXIF. Like there's like metadata on these videos. So I think it's called EXIF, EXIF. So there are tools out there if you look for EXIF removal tool, there are tools out there where you can upload these videos you downloaded, and it'll strip all those metadata from the video so that Instagram or TikTok doesn't recognize that it's the same video. I don't know if that's helpful and if that works or not, but that's what I was told to do. Saja Fendel. Firstly, thank you for your work, son. Secondly, do you have a core principle mindset for any all sales copy? As you said earlier, there's too many frameworks and I don't know how to choose navigate it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I keep it very, very simple. So every sales page I do, I always start with exactly what you're selling. Like exactly what is the value you're providing. Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to speak English fluently. I'm gonna teach you how to be a better designer. I'm gonna teach you storytelling, whatever it is, right? And then right after that, you have to talk about the pain. What is the pain? What is the struggle that they're going through, right? And once you were able to identify that and so once you can say here's the pain and here's your solution to that pain, then you can start talking about the product. Other than that, I don't. There's not like every sales page I work on is very slightly different. One thing that you want to do is like as close to the top of the page as you can. You want to have as much as social validation as possible. So any press that you gotten, right? Any testimonies you have, anything that's gonna show the credibility of your brand, you want to put it all like you want to lead with the right first impression, right? In fact, as much as this is such vanity, if I go to a page and like right away I see testimonials or right away I see like featured in, Forbes, Entrepreneur, and all of those things, the way I look at read the rest of the page is going to be different than if I don't see it, right? So just by having that first impression, there's going to be such a big difference in how people read the rest of the copy. So yeah, I want to reiterate, selling pain is so important. Selling like the post that I post today, right? Selling loss aversion, right? Selling losses is so much greater than selling gains, right? I mean, for example, people are not really motivated to buy insurance or something that's gonna help them in the future, right? Save them money in the future. Like people don't want to invest. Like think about this: trying to sell a backup hard drive, right? Think about how hard it is. Like if I were to tell you to sell a backup hard drive for $1,000, that's gonna be such a hard sell. It's gonna be so hard for you to sell a backup hard drive to, because nobody's asking for a backup hard drive. Nobody's fucking asking for that shit, right? But imagine somebody lost all of their files, all of their photos, all their important documents on the computer, and then they say, "Hey, I need a backup. I need you to retrieve this because I lost all my files." They'll be fucking literally be willing to pay anything to get that back, right? So that's how people are. They don't want to. Nobody wants to quit smoking until it's too late. Nobody wants to fucking invest in a backup hard drive until their file is gone. Like the reason why that is because people are not motivated by hope and dreams and those things. They're motivated by pain and fear. So that's why it's so important to understand. Okay, I have 4 more questions. I'm gonna go quick. Okay, Milano. Change the concept of IG account and likes that have been, yeah. I mean, okay, first of all, so many people do this. So make sure that you're not, like I say, right? Whenever you do something, people are like, you do something, and a week later, and people change plans again. They're like, oh, this isn't working. This isn't working. Oh no, this isn't working. Oh, I changed my bio, and now all of a sudden I don't get followers. Those are just emotions. So don't let emotions get in the way of you making decisions in your business. Most of the times, whatever plan that you want to implement, you thought about this plan, you implement it, you gotta let it go. Whether it's like no matter how it's doing, you have to let it go for like a certain amount of time and really collect the data and have the scale of data to look at before you make a decision, right? So for example, I see a lot of people do this. Son, like, oh, like last week I had like 200 likes and this week I only have 100 likes. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, so you got 100 less likes. But in their mind, it's like, that's like, just fucking let it go and see what happens. Like, it'll be one thing if you say, oh, last week I had 10 million likes, but this week I only have 5 million likes. Now we have a scale. Now we have a scale of economy that we can look at and see what's going on. But you lost 100 likes. What the fuck? Like it's you just most of you guys just don't have the scale to actually make that kind of decision yet. Don't fucking keep changing plans every time something little happens. You just gotta let it go and you gotta write it out. And you have to, like, I also see people do. I see a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They'll hire somebody and then they don't like that person. They're like, oh, I'm gonna fire them a week later. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you even fucking give it a shot? Like, whatever you do, don't make these last minute impulsive decisions. Okay. Like that impulsive decisions keep making it over and over and over is gonna kill your business because you're never gonna be able to build momentum. So once you made a decision to go with a plan, stick with that plan for at least 3 months before you change plans. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So many people do that. Like I can't so many people are like, son, I did this, and all of a sudden I'm losing so much money, and I go there and I find out that like they went from like 100 followers to 90 followers, or like like something so minuscule, like they're acting like their whole world is over, and like, oh, like that's, trust me, like most of the times these things are coincidence. It's not even has to do with like what you did. Graphite Graphics, what is the difference between art director and creative director? I mean, to me, creative directors are coming up with the whole overall concept, right? So they're working with the copywriter, they're working with the art director, and they're working with all the different to get the messaging right. Art director's job is just to work on the art, right? The visual part of it, or the whatever, the creative. Like, art director still needs to work with the copywriter. I mean, this is how it is in the traditional agencies, right? There's art directors, and there's the copywriter, and then above them is the creative director. So, but art director still needs to work with the copywriter in order to come up with ads. Okay. Official Julian Carpenter, how to create fans versus followers. I mean, I guess some of your followers are fans, right? And all of your fans are followers. So it's, I guess what it is for me, I don't consider any of my followers my fans, because there are plenty of fucking accounts that I follow that I'm not a fan of. I just, like I mean, I follow everyone. So if somebody's like, if I saw this, if I went to this like, taco restaurant I liked, I'll follow them, right? If I like Nike, so I'll follow them. But it's not like I'm sitting here going like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Nike. That's not what I'm doing. Oh, I love Pinkberry so much, that's why I follow them. That's not what I'm doing, right? So just because somebody follows you, it doesn't mean they're a fan. I think what I'm thinking about is like, once they become a follower, now I need to show up. I need to go answer questions, right? I need to talk to them. I need to reply to their DMs, and I need to work with them, and I need to provide value, and then until they become a fan, right? So once you become a follower, I have to nurture you until you become a fan, and then once you're a fan, I guess then that's when people will buy from you, right? Next question. Julian Carpenter again. What would you say is the biggest mistake creators make when working to create personal brand? So I think it's the same as like creating a regular brand. I feel like so many people are trying to create an identity of themselves, right? Oh, we are this brand, and this is what our brand sounds like. This is what our brand looks like, and this is what we stand for. And they try to like go and tell other people that that's what they are. But usually when you do that, there's a huge disconnect between what you say you are and what you really are. Like, have you ever met somebody like that? Have you ever met somebody like that's like, oh, I care so much about other people, and I just want to help others, and I just, my whole thing is I just want to help people. And then day to day you see that they're not really like that. Like, it feels like Tabitha said, it feels forced. It's like, really? Like, it doesn't seem like you are. Like, like like I used to know somebody who was like always talking about, like she always talks about how she's a vegan, and she would post like this Instagram photos or something of like her vegan juice or her vegan her vegan bowl or whatever. Like, she's like she's like a Instagram vegan, right? She wants to constantly show how much of a vegan she is, like all the vegan shit she does. And then one time, like she got into a fight with her with somebody because her closet was filled with like leather shit, fur, and all these like. So it's kind of like this. Like, are you really that person that you say you are, like through and through, or are you just doing that for show? Are you just fucking doing that for the camera, right? And what I see is so many people, and this is not just people that are fake like that. Even the people that truly believe that they're true, like even like myself included, right? We think we're a certain way. We think that, oh, this is who my identity is, and this is how the world looks at me, and this is who I really am. But the truth is, the world doesn't look at you that way at all. The world actually looks at you the way you really are, not the ideal version of what you want to be perceived as. And that's the problem. That's why I think fucking a lot of brands, a lot of personal brands, they think they're a certain way. They think they're generous. They think they're good. They think they're all of that. They think they're creative, when the reality is that it's not, because other people don't see it. And it's like the most it's the saddest thing. And it's, trust me, it's not just Trump. I guarantee you 90% of you are doing it too. I guarantee you, because it's like the concept of, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm who I think you think I am. Right? So it's kind of, and it's I said this before too. It's kind of like when you approach somebody that you have a crush on, but you try to pretend to be their friend because you don't want them to know that you have a crush on them. So you try to pretend like, and you try to act like you're their friend. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like, we act differently around different people. We are all wearing these multiple masks, and we're putting on this mask here, this mask here, this mask here, and we think that other people don't see right through that shit. But the truth is, everybody sees right through that shit. You're not who you say you are. You're what other people say you are. And that's what you need to remember in branding. Like, if you really want to do branding the right way, if you really want to do personal brand the right way, don't try to come up with the brand message yourself in a fucking silo. Don't go in a silo and just like in a vacuum try to come up with your brand message. Don't try to come up with your tagline. Don't try to come up with your brand story. All of those things. Don't try to come up with it yourself, because I 100% guarantee you it's gonna be wrong. The best way to come up with brand message is to let other people tell you what it is. That's where the real brand message is gonna come out. So I would say that's the biggest mistake. Oh fuck, there's more questions. When testing TikTok video solid structure format, how many of that type do you try until you decide what you will start doing? That's what you will start doing them all like. I don't know. That's I mean, I'm not like a TikTok creator, so I can't really say. But I mean, I guess you kind of have to feel it out. Like, if you know something is working, you keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore, and then you try something new. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a set formula to it. What kind of content on a small business should do on IG? Oh, that's a very broad question, but I think this, like, what I think everyone should do is answer questions. So talk about something, and if somebody asks you a question, answer it, right? Like, what I would do is, if my employee asks me a question, I'll answer it. But instead of answering my employee, I'll answer it on social media and then send it to them, right? Or if my mom asks me a question, I'll answer it, and so it's just a conversation. People ask you questions all the time. Answer it, but answer it on Instagram, answer it on TikTok, right? And then they'll ask you more questions, and then you answer that, and then they'll ask you more questions. So just have a conversation with the world, or even, but in the beginning, people are not asking you questions, right? So answer questions from people around you, but on social media. You know what I mean? And that's really the best way to, like, for me, every single one of my content idea is basically an answer to a question that people like. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm answering questions right now, and this is, I'm gonna take this. It's like a lot of these are gonna become my Instagram reels and my TikTok, and like a lot of them, I'm gonna think about it, write it down, and I'm gonna take it. Okay, like I remember when I talked about that was good shit. I'm gonna turn that into a carousel later, and that becomes a content. So unless you're out there interacting with people, answering questions, you're never going to have ideas for content. Okay, last one. Last question, guys. Actually, there's one more from YouTube. So this one, and then I'll answer the YouTube question. Do you post the same videos on TikTok Shorts, Instagram? Do they? Okay, so I think the best way to do it is to not to post the same thing over and over, right? Like to make content specifically for TikTok, specifically for Instagram, specifically for YouTube. Like for example, on TikTok, what works the best is when I'm actually just randomly, just casually, like selfie style answering question, or like those actually work better than these like podcast format ones, right? So yes, they should all be different. Ideally, if you have the time to do that, but I don't have time to do that. I literally spend zero time making content. I have video editors who takes these long form content and they edit videos for me from my podcast, from these IG live, from the Sunday service I do. So they edit these little clips for me and they upload it, so I don't have to do that. And I just take the same one and post it across all the platforms. But at the very least, maybe what you should do is maybe switch just the captions, like write different caption for each platform. Maybe try different hooks to see what works better, or something like that. Because like I noticed that the hook, the actual hook that you write, or the first 3 seconds, like makes all the difference between a video getting a lot of views versus no views. Okay, so I'm going to answer this last question, which is on YouTube. What do you think are the sad realities that people don't know about life, in life, business, and about running or starting something new? I guess the sad reality is like it's the thing that I'm always talking about, right? I think a lot of people think that they can plan life, right? Oh, they can. Oh, what should I do? Oh, when should I start a product? Oh, when should I create a product? Oh, when should I, should I go on TikTok? Like they think that you can plan shit, but the thing is, you can't plan life. Life is kind of like this. You're in the dark, you're in the blind, and you just gotta kind of poke around, poke around to see. And then once you find something, okay, like, and then you go a little bit deeper there. And then once you find something else, but that's kind of how life is. You're never gonna be able to plan anything out. So just take it, slow down, relax. Don't get all FOMO. Like, what's gonna happen with now that AI is here? What's gonna happen with this? What's gonna happen with this economy? And there's too many people on Instagram. The algorithms. Like, don't get FOMO. Don't worry about any of that shit. Just slow down, calm down, and just what is the next best step you can take? Just whenever you feel like all frustrated like that, do this. Step one, take a breath, right? Just kind of step back a little bit, look around, see what's going on, right? Okay. And kind of see the reality of the situation and just say, okay, what's the next best step I can take? And just take that. And then again. All right, y'all. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all next week. I'm here. I'm here every week. I'm here every Thursday. So I'll see you then. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Wallace. Bye, everyone. Bye, Graphite Graphics. Bye, Saeed. See ya. Cheers. Bye, Chester.